you've clicked on this video, you're wondering if I've regretted having 4 kids, and I'm going to break it down into the most frequently asked questions, and then you can make up your mind. So if this sounds interesting to you, stay tuned, give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell, and let's get into it. If this is our first time meeting, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Beck and I am a mom to 4 kids. It's really interesting. I made this video 2 years ago when my youngest was 6 months old. So I had a 6-month-old, a 1-year-old, like nearly 2-year-old, then 4 and 6. Now my kids are actually 2, 3, 6 and 8, though my 3-year-old turns 4 next month. But it's interesting because with the different age groups come more celebrations, also more trials. So it's a fresh perspective. One of the most frequently asked questions is, which transition did I find hardest? No kids to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. I would say personally, I found 0 to 1 kid very trialing. I have read so many parenting books, watched so many videos. I've even done my Bachelor of Education, and I thought I kind of knew what I was getting into. However, the child that you are blessed with also comes with their own personality, their own way of doing things, which is the reason why I always end my videos about this parenting gig doesn't come with a rule book, we only have each other, because I've realized from day dot, being blessed with our eldest, that it didn't matter what I thought I knew, it all went out the window. Having my first child was the biggest change. I would then say going from 3 to 4 kids was hard. It could be possibly because of the age group. My sons are only 18 months apart, and that in itself is really difficult, but they say if you have 4 or more, it doesn't really make a difference. I would say if you're on 3 and you're wondering, do we go back for a 4th, will we regret it? It is going to be a big adjustment, but you're not going to regret it. Definitely not. It's harder, absolutely, but I can see so many blessings from having 4 kids, which I'll answer later. But I'm saying from a parenting level, having 3 kids and going to 4 was difficult because I had 2 kids who were school age-ish and then 2 babies, and that in itself was difficult. The next question is, what in my opinion is the ideal age group? Look, to be honest, as much as 18 months has been difficult, I would say anything from 18 months onto 2 years or just a bit over 2 years is really good. Our girls are about 25 months apart. Zoe to Phineas is about 25, 26 months apart. And then Phineas to Edmund is 18 months. Definitely a shorter age group. However, now that they are growing up together, and having a short age group is really great. Even though it's a lot of chaos in a very small space, it doesn't last forever. Even now, looking back on the video that I made 2 years ago, I was in a very different world versus now. And then in 2 years more, I'm going to have nearly all the kids at school. So my world is going to be even more different. That's the thing. I think having the 2 years, you get to embrace it and experience it all together, and you get to make that community. I don't know how I would go mentally if I had 4 years with like a 3, 4, 5 year age gap. And I know that you don't always have control over age gaps, and sometimes there may be things that prevent you from having kids when you want to have kids, or maybe you have them closer. We, in our pregnancy journey, have had a miscarriage, then we've had the kids being close in age, we've gotten pregnant when we weren't even trying. So I understand that it's all different sorts of cases can happen to create a family. But in an ideal world, I would say anything from 18 months to just over 2 years is really good. Another question I get asked frequently is, how do I feel being outnumbered? Even when I do have Michael, we are outnumbered either 4 to 1 or 2 to 1. I would say personally that you get used to it. You grow with your kids. It's not like all of a sudden you have 4 kids and you don't know how to do it. You've trained them and encouraged them, taught them the boundaries and expectations. As you are growing your family, you're understanding what your personal boundaries are. The kids are working with you, and I feel like as long as you have those boundaries and expectations, it's definitely achievable. When the kids were littler, I would baby wear a lot because that's how I would keep them safe, keep my sanity safe, because if they were on me, they were protected, they were good, they weren't going to get into anything incidentally. Now that they're older, we have 2 kids still in a pram, which are the toddler boys, and then obviously the school-age girls just walk with us. The boundaries are very clear, the expectations are very clear. We're obviously not strict in regards to the fact that they're gonna get a punishment or a consequence, but we just talk about everything and we just lay it out very logically. Like if they are far away from us and we aren't there to help them, then things could go wrong, unfortunately, and if Dad and I aren't close, then we're not going to be able to get there as fast as we could if they were right next to us. Rather than like guilt tripping them or just snapping at them, we just really talk about things, because specifically for the girls, they're getting at that stage where they do understand logical reasoning, which is such a blessing. I have taken the kids out to the shops and it's just been me. Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit of an inconvenience because we take up a lot of space, so I try to teach girls how to be mindful that we don't just take up a whole aisle, that we do have to share, etc, etc. If you are going out and it's you and 4 kids, have a game plan, have snacks, have activities, be mindful of the time, don't do it during sleep time or when they're going to get grumpy, because big emotions create bigger emotions. So try and just work with the kids, their routines, their personalities. I know personally for me, the reason why we moved to our current district is because we can get out safely and the kids can just be out in nature, and I know that they're safe, and when they're out exploring by themselves, I am my best parent. Work with your strengths, work with their strengths, and you can take 4 kids out easily, but like I said, you grow with it. Don't be scared if that's something that's going to prevent you from having a lot of them. You will just get into a natural rhythm and you'll know good days and bad days, and don't push yourself on a bad day. Be kind to yourself. Transportation and housing. Have we had to upgrade? Yes. Yes, we have. I actually love the fact that we have a minivan. And if you've been on our channel for a while, you'll know that I documented the whole going shopping for the minivan and buying our minivan for the first time. I also decorate our minivan at Christmas time. Like, I adore the minivan. I try and make it a party bus as much as I can because we make so many memories, and it's really funny to look back on the last video. I said I really hoped we would do a road trip in our minivan, and we totally did. We went down to Sydney and then on to Canberra, which is in the Australian Capital Territory, and we just had a really amazing family holiday, all in the comfort of our minivan. Like, I love this thing. I love the fact that it can transport our family safely. There's enough space for everyone. I specifically asked Mick if we could get the make and model that allowed us to remove the center chair in the center aisle. That way our kids can just walk in and out. The kids are old enough that the bigger ones can open the sliding door, and we're even at the point now where we're starting to remove car seats, which is mental. I am like looking forward to the day where we have no car seats and the kids will just be able to hop in. It'll be easier to clean. It'll just be interesting to see their personalities and who they choose to sit with. It also means that if we need to take any friends anywhere, friends can just hop on in. Like, I really love the fact that we are that community. In regards to housing, we recently upgraded our house and it has been the best decision ever. I remember my nanu saying to me, because I had 7 kids, that children are the greatest blessing and God always provides for them. And it's so true, unbelievably true, because we have had to upgrade our house now twice, and it has just been miraculous how it has occurred. And now we have the house that we're going to stay until the kids move out, and we are just so incredibly thankful and blessed. It is an amazing location. It is just enough space for everyone to be in, inside and outside. Everything that we need, God has absolutely provided for. That's the thing, children are a blessing from the Lord, and God provides for us and our kids. Even though transportation and housing obviously needed to get an upgrade, it's not something that was a deal breaker for me. The next question is, do I get overwhelmed by parenting? Yes, absolutely. So much so that it can cause me to have panic attacks or meltdowns, because specifically with the toddlers and their big emotions, I take that on and it's magnified. Not because of anything that I'm doing particularly, but just how my brain is wired. So I have a couple of strategies in place, which is what I'm going to share. The first is something that I shared in my last video, which is these loop headphones. These are so great. You can put them onto your car keys, and all it is just this little earbud that you put in. And what this does is it just takes the edge off it. So particularly there are some sounds that happen, especially when we're driving, and it just like grates on me. This takes it off so I can actually deal with it easier. This just reduces, it doesn't noise cancel, which leads me to my second one. And that is my JBLs. These ones have two sorts of options. The first option is you can be ambient aware, which means it just takes the noise out again. So you can still listen to conversations, so you can still hear what's happening. Second is noise cancelling, and that is my sanity saver. So there are times where, especially in the car, if we're driving back and it's getting close to bedtime for the boys, and when they're just being uncontrollably crying because they're overtired, I put these in and I just have a bit of a sound break, an audio break, and that just helps me to be a better parent. Because sometimes when you're driving and they're just having a meltdown themselves, you can't help it, you just need to get home safely, and this helps me to get home safely. The other thing that I found has helped me to be less overwhelmed is just create clear routines. Now that we've moved, I get up every morning and I go for a rollerblade, and I go down to the beachfront and I see the sunrise over the ocean, and it's just so beautiful, so quiet. To be out in nature and not have to worry about anyone else has really helped me in my mental health. Since moving out to our new location, we're also screen-free, which has made a tremendous difference, not only for the kids, but also for me. So if you want to know more about how we did screen-free with our kids, comment down below and I'll do another sit-down video for that. But I have found personally for my mental health, being screen-free has been so good. I have read more books this year. I've gotten into drawing. I have my YouTube. I do sourdough making. I am just able to experience life and be present rather than being distracted. And even now, I just have my phone sitting in the bedroom on charge because I just don't want to be distracted by it. I feel like you can get sucked into that black hole of just constantly scrolling, and then time elapses from you and then you feel bad for it. Being unplugged has been the biggest change in my ability to be a better parent and not being overwhelmed. And it also helps me to relive childhood with my kids. My uncle was saying to me recently that if you are not experiencing childhood again through that fresh lens perspective of your own kids, then you're not doing it right. And that really struck a chord with me, because sometimes in the chaos and the stress of it all, you just want to be disconnected and unplugged from it all. And yet when you're dancing with your kids or exploring on the beach with your kids or just watching them play, it really is great. And no, you don't have to do that all the time. There are some times where I've taken my camping chair outside, the kids are playing on the playground, and I'm reading a book and occasionally looking up. You're allowed to do that as well. I just find that finding that balance helps me to be less overwhelmed. But do things prior and it will also help. So school uniforms out the night before, pack the lunch boxes the night before, put it in the fridge, get into that routine, have set places for everything to be in. I recently made a school locker for my kids' school bags to go into, which I will leave a link down below. But all of those things, those routines, those sequences helps you to be less overwhelmed, because it is overwhelming having 4 kids with big emotions, and you have big emotions and your husband has big emotions, and that's okay. All of it is okay. You're allowed to feel feelings. We're just not allowed to react out of them. It's overwhelming but manageable. Another question is, what is the dynamic with our kids? It's obviously changed and evolved now that the kids are getting older. Sometimes my eldest and my third play like a house on fire, and my second and fourth play on like a house on fire. Sometimes it's girls versus boys and they just go off and do their own thing. The girls might want to do stuff that's more advanced and the boys are just plodding around. And then sometimes it's all 4 of them. I've had 4 of them on the trampoline just being goof bags, and it's been great. Or they've been playing on an obstacle course or riding their scooters and bikes. It's forever changing, and it's beautiful to see that their friendship isn't exclusively to some person, but it's to all of them. I have found personally through observation that 1 and 3, 2 and 4 are boy-girl versions of each other, so they kind of naturally just gravitate to each other, but in the same breath they do all play with each other. So it's actually one of the biggest blessings of having 4 kids, is just that small knit community. How did we know that it was the time to stop? And I think you know when you know. People used to say that to me all the time when I would ask them. They're like, oh, we just felt complete. And at the time I wasn't feeling complete. I'm like, oh my goodness, am I ever going to get this feeling? And we did. There was always someone that was missing in our hearts when we used to have a kid. But then when we had our youngest, we knew that, yeah, we were both hearts full, but also like mentally at capacity. It was just double confirmation, and I'm very thankful for 4. When we got into that 2-year cycle, when my youngest was like 18 months, I started having dreams that I was pregnant with the next bub. My body was like playing tricks on me, because for 8 years it was like perpetually pregnant and it was just in this routine. So to break that cycle was a real mind game for me, but I'm so thankful that it is broken because I love the little family that we have and I am not missing anyone, not longing for anyone. I definitely know that we are done. Another thing that stops people from having more kids is holidays. Yes, it can get expensive, but there's definitely work around it. Because we are full-time working parents, we very much have an importance on holidays, at least annually, sometimes even twice a year. We have found ways around it. We are part of a timeshare, so we do have apartment styles that we use our points on. Then we've recently discovered caravan parks. So we went down to Byron Bay with a caravan park. We're also going down to northern New South Wales, Gold Coast area at the end of the school year to do another caravan park. I'm finding caravan parks here in Australia are amazing because there's usually kids activities that can keep them occupied. The accommodation is really great, location is really great, it's very family focused and it's affordable. We know that traveling is something that is a priority for us, and just because we have 4 kids doesn't mean that we're gonna stop and wait until they're older. We really wanna make sure that we're creating memories with them. Just because we have 4 kids isn't going to stop us from doing anything. Mick and I are very much in the mindset that whatever we set our minds to, we are going to make it work. Like, that's our life. This is our choice and we are going to make the most of it. So even though holidaying with 6 of us in total can be a little bit challenging when it comes to accommodations or even booking at restaurants, the older the kids get, the easier it does become. I'm seeing now that my eldest is 8 how fast it all goes. Like, I never thought I'd get through the first year of her life because it was so new and trialing and overwhelming, but the rest of it has gone in a blink of an eye. We are dedicated to making sure that having kids, it doesn't stop us from doing anything, that we make those dreams a reality and we make those core memories. At the end of the day, if you're wondering, do I regret having 4 kids? Let me just remind you that you grow with the kids. You get to know the kids. You're not just landed with 4 at various ages and you know nothing about them. You as a parent will evolve and change because you will reflect and grow. If it's hard, it's because you're doing the right thing. Mick and I always encourage each other when we're so extremely exhausted that it's because we're actually doing the best job that we can and it's going to pay off. There's moments where our kids are getting babysat and they have the best manners and they're so kind and caring, and those are the moments where we're like, okay, it is actually working and we are laying a solid foundation. So even though it can be challenging, it's something that is worth the fight. So how do we do it with 4 kids? We just do. I lean on Mick, he leans on me. We work together as a team and we are mindful of each other as parents so that we can be our best parents to the kids. Do we have our hands full? Absolutely, but our hearts are also full and we wouldn't change it for the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this has answered some of your questions if you're thinking about having 4 or more kids. If you are, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell. Comment any questions down below and I'll answer them for you, because this parenting gig doesn't come with a rule book. We only have each other. And here on the end screen, I've left 2 more videos just for you, so keep on watching. Bye!